Well, welcome to another edition of the Digicel Sports Show right here on Islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me yet again on the couch is Jason Juggling J. Ford. Had a good weekend?
Long, but great.
Not as long as the one coming up.
We got to talk about that yet?
Thursday. We'll wait till Thursday.
Catch my breath.
Yeah.
Last weekend.
Well, on today's show, we're going to talk about the Shield and Friendship semifinal draw that was made yesterday.
We'll talk about the games, too.
We'll talk about the games.
Quarterfinal games.
Had a chance to speak with the newly elected Somerset Cricket Club president, Sean Blanchett. Had a chat with young Daniel Phillips, tennis player. And much more that we'll have on this particular show. And we'll have more after this message from our sponsor.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber-to-the-home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Well, first we got to start off with the matches over the weekend. We were right in all but one.
Yeah. Sylvia was pretty good last weekend.
Well, I came close to being wrong in two, but
yeah. But that would have really been a surprise.
Yeah. Well, we got one surprise.
Yeah.
I would have never dreamt that St. George's would have lost to Wolves.
I only just try to be on your side for one day.
No.
Every time I go be on your side for one day, I end up losing. It's happened twice.
Let's go back to that Rio and hear him talk about ain't no way he can't see Wolves beating St. George's, and you were the leader on that. I weren't. I was the follower.
I have to be a leader with you, St. George's. You're gonna agree with what I say to anything.
But we did say that match between North Village and Dennytown could go either way.
Yeah.
And it went the way of the home team, North Village Rams. Evenly balanced game. I got to see quite a bit of it. The difference was girls, obviously. Girls being scored, girls being missed. North Village managed to get the 3-1 lead with very little time left on the clock. Dennytown scored, made it more interesting, but North Village just had to kill the time, and that's what they done. So
yeah, and we talked about the inconsistency of North Village and Dennytown. Basically, they can cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Due to the fact that Dennytown has been getting some good goalkeeper play. And then obviously with the inclusion of Kwame coming off the bench at times, helping to...
Didn't he suit up today?
And that was probably the most surprising thing in a match like that, where the match prior to that, you was wondering why he suited up.
Well, I think only because I think he wanted to solidify things for his team. One of the reasons I think he suited up for the league was to get him into a rhythm.
Yes.
They were not sparking, and it was to get them into that rhythm. The cup game, probably just holding on until some players came back from either injury or from overseas in school, and now he's got those players back, and he decided to have on sneakers as opposed to boots.
But I'll tell you, Earl, he's doing a wonderful job of managing. And when I say managing, sometimes, too many managers, and I had a conversation with a coach over the weekend, but I think sometimes a lot of these coaches get too caught up, especially local coaches, which are amateurs. These players are amateurs, are getting too caught up in the technical and professional side of the game.
Yeah, wanting players to do what the guys that get paid to do it full time, they want them to do it on a part-time basis.
Yes.
Less than part-time because it's recreational.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where sometimes you might have to manage. The guy's got some problems at home. The guy's got some
issues at work.
Or maybe issues with other players. In the professional environment, you're getting paid to put up with somebody. Yeah. I might need you to put up with somebody over here now. So he's doing and I'm not saying these things are happening over there, but is doing a great job of managing. And I think that's where when players, when coaches, especially player coaches, it's very hard to draw that balance. We saw Ralph Bean Jr. have a hard time drawing that balance, and he had ended up playing more than he wanted to. John Barry Newsom's probably going through the exact same thing, trying to stroke that balance, because you do want these guys, and not only the guys who are on the field, but also the guys that are on the bench feel empowered that they could be called on at any time.
The problem that John Barry has taken on is the fact that the team are the defending champions.
Yes, so the expectations
is
totally different.
But it's making sure the players understand that the expectations of them now is far greater than they were a season ago.
And even 2 seasons, if you look at even last season, right? You got to think the Robin Hood run has probably been 3 years.
When they won I think it was the Dudley Eve. They won.
Right. And it was due to the, remember, it was against Denny Town. What was the cup against Denny Town with the illegal player?
Oh, the FA Cup.
The FA Cup.
Yeah.
Right. So let's go back to that.
That's the one I'm talking about. The FA Cup.
Let's go back to that FA Cup. Remember, prior to that, obviously they were overwhelming underdogs going into that match. Right? So all the attention's been basically off of Robin Hood. Even last year, they didn't really have an axe on their back.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because people were still expecting Robin Hood to falter going down the stretch.
They didn't.
They didn't. Right? Which was very similar to what happened in EPL with Leicester 2 years ago.
Right.
But this year, things are a bit different. You are the champions.
Right.
And we're coming for you. So you're going to probably get most of these teams' best effort every time you step on the field, no matter where it is. Just the fact that they respect you or not respect you. They're going to think they got a chance.
Right. Interestingly enough, that Robin Hood Crossroads game.
Prime example.
Crossroads love playing the BAA field. That's where they're scoring all the goals.
That's scoring all the goals there.
They had a 3-3 draw with Flanagan.
Yeah.
And then a 4-4 draw with Robin Hood. Losing on penalties. But I mean, the experience I think paid off for Robin Hood when it got down to crunch time. They got that last minute equalizer in extra time. And then obviously the players who have handled pressure a lot better or a lot longer than the Crossroads players that actually
and that
took
goes
over.
To my point earlier, is managing players. Because like we just talked about it, the pressure side of it, Robin Hood's been in these tight games, knowing how to win. And hear some coaches saying we have to learn how to win.
Right.
Yeah, but and sometimes it's hard because if you're a team, let's use Earl Basin as a team. Earl Basin is a team that likes to attack. But now, you got a couple of goal lead. You got about 10 minutes to go, Earl. Let's just solidify our defense, play a little bit narrow, and keep them out. But you're telling me, I don't know how to.
Yeah, I just know how to attack. Give me the ball, let's go forward.
Now, that will always be a debate amongst coaches.
When do we do it? How do we do it, and with what personnel?
And if we should do it. Because if you're going to do something that goes totally against your team's philosophy, that can also mess up your team. But with this, I think Crossroads will, whether they stay up or go down, this will be a learning experience for this group of players because you're going to need these losses to learn that lesson. And we saw that even with PAC a couple of years ago. We talked about that year a couple of years ago when they went down in town. But they were in, remember they was in most of the other cup games. And couldn't hold on.
There goes the spoils. But PHC were able to outlast Somerset Trojans 2-0. The other game, Devonshire Cougars, the defending champions, put aside Flanagan's Onions. So it ended up with PHC, Devonshire Cougars, North Village, and Robin Hood. 1, 2, 3, and 5 in the semi-final, with Dandytown being in 4th place. And in the first division, it ended up 1, 2, 3-8 in the semifinal.
Yeah, I mean, but that's so we're expecting a very competitive cup.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the semifinals. I mean, the matchups that we saw, PHC gonna have to take on Robin Hood again
At PHC.
At PHC. But I tell you, for me personally, it's just a good feeling too because, and that's Boxing Day. Many years ago, we used to go see the Leave games down PAC at Boxing Day.
Yeah.
So just the return of that personally, it's gonna feel good.
Well, this will be year 2.
Well, year 2, right? But also that matchup between North Village and Derbyshire Cougars. Once again, we can say the same thing we said last week with North Village and Dennytown.
Either way,
We can flip a coin.
the surface, whoever plays adjusts best to the surface on the night will win the match.
And that I was going to ask you about that too because that's going to be on the Wednesday night
At BAA Field.
at BA Field. Would you have preferred for that to be a day game?
Maybe, but the calendar doesn't allow it.
I was just.
Yeah, the calendar doesn't allow it. If you want to maximize dollars and cents for the association and the clubs, the calendar doesn't allow it. So unfortunately, maybe next year you would have the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yeah, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So they'll probably play the Boxing Day Tuesday, the other match on the Wednesday.
Be interesting.
Yeah. But actually, let's get the draw and the explanation which is needed for the draw once again this year.
So good afternoon all. We are here to manage the Shield and Friendship semi-final draw for the 2017-2018 Shield competition and Friendship competition. Just a few housekeeping items in the Shield competition. The remaining teams are Southampton Rangers, Wolves, BA and Paget. The matches will be held on Tuesday, December 26th at PHC and Wednesday, December 27th at BAA as such. And we attempt to, because we attempt to have no home field advantage where possible, BAA will play their opponent on Tuesday, December 26th at PHC. So no matter who they draw. In the Friendship semi-final, we have a unique scenario, well, not quite unique because it happened last year with Village and PHC, but Robin Hood and PHC remain in the competition. And so if they happen to avoid each other, PHC will play on Wednesday night at BAA against their opponent, and Robin Hood will play on Tuesday at PHC against their opponent. If Robin Hood and PHC are drawn against each other, the team that comes out of the hat first will play at their home venue. Yeah, it's clear as mud. So we will do the Shield semi-final first. So we have Southampton Rangers, Wolves, BA, and Paget. Paget. We play Wolves. That match will be on Wednesday. BA will play Rangers on Tuesday, the 26th. So Friendship, PHC, Robin Hood, North Village, Devonshire Rock. PHC, play Robin Hood. Devonshire Rack. We play North Village. So the PHC Bermuda match will be played on Tuesday, December 26th at PHC. North Village versus Devonshire Cougars will be played on Wednesday, December 27th at BAA. Match kickoff times will be 12 p.m. for Shield on December 26th and 2:30 p.m. for the Friendship. On Wednesday, there will be a 7 p.m. kickoff for the Shield and 9 p.m. for the Friendship matches.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you'll get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Well, you've heard the draw, and obviously very interesting matchup at the draw yesterday. The Paget representative said before the draw, "Man, I want Wolves." So you could hear the chuckles in the background when the draw was made. Paget playing Wolves, Rangers, and BAA. Interesting matchup if that Rangers BAA. Obviously, two teams who are top of the end of the table. Paget leading the table, having an opportunity to play Wolves. What do you think about it?
Man, everything's falling in place for the Lions. I mean, just look at even just the other game, Rangers and BA. Rangers undefeated.
Right.
Mind they do have a bunch of draws.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's going to be a battle in itself. It'll be interesting, around this time we do get the influx of college kids back.
Mm-hmm.
We know what BA possesses when it comes to college kids.
Yes, yes.
But we also talk about the chemistry, what happens in between that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Paget will have the likes of that along with Wolves. But you expect Paget to go through.
Yeah.
I don't unlike last weekend. I can tell you I'm not going to on Thursday. So on my boys down Hermitage Road, it's
not looking good.
Not looking good. Don't worry about New Year's Day. Boxing Day,
yeah.
You can come out and we can have a little. But New Year's Day, you can sit there for me.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be very interesting for them. Obviously, a semifinal. They haven't been to a semifinal in a number of years. So stepping into the unknown, as they would say. On Wednesday night at BAA Field, they'll take on the league leaders. And to be honest, I think Paget deserve all the credit they're getting thus far because they've been consistent.
Well, sometimes we say you got to earn your luck.
Yeah, and they've definitely earned it.
They've earned a luck.
Yeah.
One thing I would stress out there for the folks, and I would love for it to see, is that all the fans and spectators come in their colors. I mean, that's something that we grew up.
It'd be very difficult to determine who's who because what is Paget? Yellow and green and black?
Yeah.
You know what Wolves are?
Well, they're yellow and black. Mm-hmm. That's a different yellow, though. Don't worry, most of the Paget boys are being green. They had a green.
Yeah.
They'll be in that green. They'll be in that green. Don't panic about that. Then B will be in that green, and even though that's another field with Rangers in the blue, but just the fact that the fans come out and dress in their gear. I've talked with some folks with the BFA, but I also want to get to talk with some folks with the individual clubs. Because we always talk about trying to find ways to create revenue besides the bar.
Right.
And I said, when these teams, obviously, they're sponsored, when they get these jerseys, but when these teams are getting these Boca jerseys, buy 2-3 extra sets, right? So you can sell off. So you can have your fans come and represent you in your colors. Now, let's be honest, you can get the knockoff version.
Right.
Without the numbers. And get people put on their numbers themselves, which would be a cheaper version of. But you got some paraphernalia. You've seen some teams over the last few years who have done things like that. Scarves.
Right.
Jackets.
Yeah.
and the likes, caps and hats. But it's just a good look for the fans, and it makes the fans even feel more part of the team.
Of the team, yeah.
So hopefully, whatever. And I tell guys, even if you don't have new jerseys, sell off the old jerseys.
Right.
People will buy those old jerseys. I ain't buying one of yours, bro. No. They don't make them like they used to.
On to his other club. Rashawn Blanchett was voted in as the new president of Somerset Cricket Club at the end of last month, becoming the youngest president of the club. Got a chance to sit down and talk with him yesterday. Here's the interview with Somerset Cricket Club president Rashawn Blanchett.
And welcome back to Inside Sports Talk Radio. As we said to our listeners on our first commercial break, we will have the new president of Somerset Cricket Club joining us. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ian. Good afternoon, Earl. Just thank you for having me in today. I know we tried to do this a week or so prior, but it wasn't the right time. But I'm happy to be here today to field your questions and discuss SCC.
SCC, number one club in Bermuda, you saying?
In my humble opinion.
I'm asking.
Okay.
Let me ask him. You want to get it correctly, Mr. Basin? Is Somerset Cricket Club the number one club on the island?
In my humble opinion, I would say so.
You satisfied, Mr. Basin?
He said in his humble opinion.
It's the
Everybody's
same
entitled to
answer.
their opinion.
Right. I
I
get
have
exactly
with that.
But that was a question. Anywho, you started. Okay, we're going to finish it. Not a problem. It's all good. You're filling some big shoes. You were the vice president at one time for Somerset Cricket Club, and you were under the tutelage of your former president, Mr. Alfred Mabry. I think he held the reins for 7 years.
7 years, correct.
He did a marvelous job, and as you know, when you follow those footsteps, you got to carry on. So, what are your expectations for you for 2018 and beyond?
Moving forward, my vision for the club is one, to sort of bring people back to the club, re-establish Somerset Cricket Club as the centerpiece of the Sounds community. I know typically, and I don't say this disrespectfully, a lot of people only take interest in Somerset or St. George during those 2 days in late July, early August. But for me and for people, directly involved with Somerset Cricket Club, it's year-round. So with that in mind, we want to get the people back to the club, re-establish that relationship with community and club, grow our membership, things of that nature, build and enhance our youth programs, improve our financial standing, and so on and so forth. And obviously you have that big cup match piece, and the goal there would be to minimally retain the cup. But with the hope, or not hope, the expectation and confidence that we will actually win outright.
Understood. Mr. Basin heard that. I didn't say it, Mr. Basin. Let's make it very clear.
Are you having a conversation with Mr. Blanchett?
No, I'm just
President Blanchett. Are you having a conversation?
We all are.
Oh, okay.
We all are. I know you got a question for him too.
Not yet, yeah.
Okay, not a problem. You outlined that you want to get the community involved, and it's no secret. This is across Bermuda, across the island from east to west, north and south, that the clubs have lost that edge of being involved in the community, and we know our various reasons. I don't have to point them out. It's going to be a challenge for you to bring back the club and the community together as one.
A challenge, yes, but where there's challenge, there's also opportunity. Prior to the AGM, I was actually doing some research, and I noted that there are over 6,000 people registered to vote in Sands Parish alone. So for me, even a conservative, maybe 5% of that becoming members is 300 members. So, let's start small and gradually build. And I guess my vision to sort of achieve that goal is to get out there in the community on the doorstep, reaching out to the people, past members, people who sort of have a relationship with the club but may not be members, get out there and sort of get some insight as to what we can do to bring them back to the club.
In your campaign leading up to the election of becoming the president of Somerset, what were some of the older members' discussions like? Because obviously they have concerns of how the club has been going in the community as well. So what is some of the things? Because you're a young man, so obviously you've had the ear of quite a few of the youngsters. But to make that balance, what are the older members or older folks of Somerset talking about they would like to see at the club in order to get them back?
And as Ian sort of alluded to, it's more the bigger issues that are happening across Bermuda. So the social environment in and around the clubs in Bermuda, things of that nature, for lack of a better word, standards that may have existed in years gone by they're very big on that sort of stuff and sort of maintaining the history and cultural significance of Somerset Cricket Club.
Are you the youngest president to live here?
I believe so, yes.
Wow.
It's not something that I ran in doing to say I'm the youngest president. It just so happened that that's the case, and hopefully so one day someone comes along and breaks my record.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Why did you feel it was a need for you to get involved administratively in Somerset Cricket Club?
To give you some context, I've been around the club since like Pee-wees.
Yeah, I know.
From Pee-wees to president.
Tell
So
you something. We went to school with your mom.
okay, yes, okay, yeah.
Yes, you did. Okay,
Who's mom?
keep on.
Venetia Blanchett.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she went with me and stuff.
Yeah.
I think with you
Yeah,
guys.
okay.
But I grew up in and around Somerset Cricket Club. As a young boy, it was just a place where I enjoyed being around with my friends. Playing football, playing cricket, under the guidance of, mature men who gave you good direction and stuff like that. I can remember being 8 or 9 years old, and every Sunday I would be down the club doing the school board. This was long before the days of the electronic school board. I was standing on milk crates and the hot metal sheets, hanging them up. So I've always had a desire to be involved with the club, and that's just sort of led to this stage in my life now. I can recall another cup match when I was maybe 14 or 15. I painted the entire perimeter fencing and the bleachers, so club life's always been a part of me. I returned from school back in 2008, and I was elected onto management before being elected vice president, and here I am now as president. So I guess to answer your question, it's just that SCC has always played an integral role in who I am and where I've gotten in life so far. So it's only right and natural that I come back and serve the club and community that done so much for me.
How was that transition from, because you was heavily involved in playing and coaching the youngsters.
Yes.
So how was that transition from playing, because I know you're still doing the coaching part.
I'm still coaching, yes.
From playing to the management, because when players are playing, they always have this idea of how the club should help them.
Mm-hmm.
How has you been able to manage that and still be able to maintain that relationship with the players you play with and those coming behind them to encourage them to become members, to become involved in the club? How is that working out?
I think it's beneficial given that I only started playing 2 seasons ago, and I have a good rapport with the current team and the youngsters behind them. There's no sort of big age or generational gap, if you know what I mean. So
That you usually
the better served without me right now. You saw me running yesterday.
Yes,
So.
I did.
But I mean, yeah, I just think being sort of their age helps to sort of bridge that gap which may have existed previously, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I hope to use that to my advantage. I like to think I have the respect of the current players and the youngsters coming behind them, and my plan is to sort of, as I sort of stated earlier, is to bridge that relationship between just being someone who comes there and plays football 2 or 3 times a week, but now let's become people who want to frequent the club and get involved on the other side of things so that the club can meet its operational goals, in 2018 and beyond.
Now this year coming up, this wouldn't be your first cup match because obviously you've been on management, you said,
Yes.
since 2008
Yes.
in that regard. What do you see different now being involved over the past 8 years that you didn't see prior to being involved?
I mean, that's an easy question. It's just so much work that goes into putting on those 2 days of cricket. I mean, the viewing public just come along, bring the coolers, load up all the refreshments and food, but it's so much work that goes on behind the scenes in terms of, you're meeting with the sponsors, you're meeting with the scaffolding people, you're meeting with the radio personnel, you're meeting with the caterers, you're meeting with the security, you're organizing the transport and hotel for the players, you got to get the cricketers and the gear sorted out. It's so much that goes into it.
Do you have a sports chairman that does both, or you have a cricket and
We have a cricket chairman who is Mike Coday. So he was cricket chairman. He's been cricket chair. I think last year was maybe his first year, but he was also the cricket manager, team manager. So we have them separated. Mike Coday, cricket chair, and the Derwade is still the football chair.
Mr. President, you represented one of the most prestigious clubs in Bermuda. As a young man, will this be added pressure on you?
I wouldn't say added pressure. I mean, it's a huge responsibility, undeniably, but it's the same responsibility whether you're my age or you're more senior than me. And I like to put things into context. For me, pressure is a mother who wakes up and doesn't know how she's going to feed her child. So for me, this is just a huge responsibility. I'm quietly confident that I can do a decent job and please. I mean, I'm not going to please everyone. That's just the nature of it. But I like to think I'm going to do a good job with the support of those around me. I think we have a very good team, very well balanced in terms of youth and experience, male and female. So I'm optimistic.
Fair enough. What advice has been passed on to you now that you're in the hot seat with Somerset Cricket Club? You've been in management since 2008, but what advice has been passed on now that you're the president of the club?
The main thing has been to sort of like don't be afraid to ask for help. Within our membership and wider community, there's people with a vast range of contacts and networks, and also like skills and resources. So don't try and take on everything yourself. And
Point.
another main point would be don't be afraid to make the hard decisions. And somebody actually just said this to me on Saturday. From a business perspective, treat it as if it's my own business.
True. That's true.
So I would say there are three main things: not being afraid to ask for help, making the tough decisions, and treating the business side of it as if it was like my personal situation.
Fair enough. As president, are you ready to grind the long hours? Because it's going to be some long hours. Good thing that you still, I think you live in Somerset still, so that helps.
Yes.
Are you ready to grind
I mean,
the long hours,
I've
sacrifice
like as we've stated, I've been on management and executive, so it's not. It may mean a few more hours, but it's not. I'm not walking into this blindly. I know what I'm getting myself into, and I sort of view club life as suitable for persons who are either young without a family or older persons whose family is now out the way. So I fall into that latter bracket. So I think I have the time and energy to do what's necessary.
We talked about cup match earlier, all three of us here. Earl's no secret for St. George. Roddy Guns for St. George's. You're for Somerset. I'm for Somerset.
How you know this for Somerset?
Who?
How you know it's actually for Somerset?
Who? The president? As I was saying, right? That's why his second
Yeah.
first.
No,
It's that simple.
but how do you know he's actually?
As I was saying,
My
yeah,
mother's actually for St. George's, but
I said he. The
I'm
president
staunch
for
Somerset.
All right. That's why he's second. You're first. Mr. Basin never fails. 7 months, 7 or 8 months. I don't know the exact dates to cup match right now, but as each president has said when we interviewed him, that the work doesn't stop. It's a continuous thing.
For sure.
So with 7 months left, I'm sure you'll put things in place now, starting now, because time waits for no man.
Yeah. I mean, things have been in motion behind the scenes even prior to the AGM. So it's not like it's now a new administration and we start from ground zero, if you know what I mean. Work has already been done, talks have already been had, and so on. But yeah, I mean, once the festive period is out the way, it's all hands on deck and let's hit the ground running. Not just for cup match, but for the day-to-day operations of SCC.
Right. It's always been no secret for both clubs. They say when this festivity comes together, everyone comes together in community. But you stress that for Somerset, your goal is to get people involved 365 days a year.
For sure.
Will you be looking to get the extra help going forward for 2018?
I mean, most definitely. If the expectation is that the persons elected on management and executive are going to do everything, then, I mean, for me, that's just unrealistic. Everyone has, 9 to 5 jobs. They have families and other personal situations. So it's a members club there to serve the community, and essentially it's going to take all the members to get involved and move the club forward.
This year, or 2 years, let me start there first. 2 years ago, I think you guys won the league.
2014-15.
2014-15, 3 years ago. So that was a record within itself. I think it was like 20 years or something like that.
22 years, and the first club to have won 10 league titles.
It's based on that loud and clear. So this year seems it's going to be a struggle. You're in 7th place. Unfortunately, you came up short yesterday, 2-0 to TAC in the semi-finals. So the friendship, I believe it was. Quarterfinal.
Quarterfinal.
what is the expectations of surviving? What are you looking for your club to survive for the remaining of the season in league football?
For me personally, I'm not overly panicked. I think we have enough within the team to, to keep our head above water and stay in the top flight of Bermuda football. I mean, obviously, we're not going to make a push for the league or anything like that, but I think we have the players and personnel required to ensure that we're playing 3 o'clock next year.
You know what? Funny you should say that, because if you had a deeper voice, you'd sound just like me, because I tell him the same thing.
Yeah.
I tell him. Didn't I tell you?
Yes, you did.
Oh, okay.
You did.
What I would add to that.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, what I would add to that is that this season is very much a team in transition. If you look at the nucleus of the team that was playing in 14 and 15, maybe I would say at least 6 or 7 people who were starting every week are no longer playing football. So we got a couple 16-year-olds in the team now. It's a team in transition.
Fair enough. So you're satisfied right now and hoping that, like you said, stay above water to survive for this season?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not too panicked as yet. We got a very important result last Sunday versus Crossroads.
Right.
I mean, so long as we beat or don't drop points, or don't lose rather, against those teams, directly around us, I'm confident that we'll be top flight next year.
When you met with your executive the first time, what was the topic of conversation and what you guys needed to address right away?
I wouldn't say there's one specific topic. We want to become financially sound, so that's going to take the implementation of operational controls and procedures. We want to become a strong club on this field of play, both in football and cricket. We want to reconnect with the community. So it's not just one topic. There's a few topics and loads of moving parts, and we're working towards achieving that.
Were you happy leaving that first meeting? Because I remember you said to me, and I guess you said to Ian as well, you wanted to meet with your executive first to discuss the way forward.
Yes. I'm very happy. I think with any change, and not because I'm the person now, the president, but with any change comes renewed optimism, energy, and hope. And I think, we have a bit of momentum. We have a bit of goodwill from the members now. So I'm confident that we can, get this right and get the club moving in the right direction. And that's not to say that we were getting it wrong previously or anything like that.
Right. Well, I want to wish you all the best. I'll speak to you closer to the end of the football season.
Okay.
Then we get into the other part.
Not to worry.
What's the other part?
Small ball. Small ball.
Oh, softball?
Small ball.
What is small ball? I'm just asking. I'm asking. What is small? Is it a new sport? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a new sport.
What's the name? Small ball.
Small ball.
Oh, you're talking like England and the Ashes series. Okay, cricket. That's what you're referring to.
They're on the way towards a whitewash right now.
Pretty much.
Hey, I never see so many English people celebrating when the play was supposed to start. It was raining.
Yeah.
It was hot match in Australia, boy.
Yeah.
Then it dried out.
They must have started crying then, didn't it?
The tears couldn't make you feel enough.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Really, really crazy.
But you know what's funny? I mean, it's almost like that series, whoever's home seems to dominate a little more than the other team. Not necessarily win, but seems to dominate a little more. If you look at it, England went to Australia on a high. They've lost 2 games by innings and runs.
Yeah, that's it.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Like a whitewash, as they say. Right?
Well, 18 is something differently.
Yeah, that's true.
18 is something different.
That's true. Before we wrap up, Mr. Blanchett, any final comments you'd like to add to our listeners regarding your situation with Somerset as the new president?
I'd just like to thank the listening public for tuning in to Inside Sports Talk Radio, and I'd encourage all those fans of SEC to, come and get involved, come become financial members, and let's collectively move our club forward.
Right now, one more question I have for you regarding not just football and cricket. Is there any other sporting activities that someone is looking to improve in other sporting areas?
I mean, ultimately, it all comes down to resources, right? I know in years prior, Somerset had like one of the better softball teams and things of that nature. Previously, we've had like a majorette group. But if we can identify the right persons to sort of get those programs off the ground, then I think speaking for the executive and management, we're more than willing to sort of ensure that gets done.
Fair enough.
But I stressed this at the AGM. The club is only as strong as the collective will and desire of the membership.
That is so true.
So I want to reiterate that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Good luck, man.
Yeah. best
Thank
of
you,
luck going
and
forward.
thank you for having me in today. I think it was very useful for me to get out there and spread the word of SCC. And if you ever want to call me back in,
By all
you
means.
got my details
And
now.
about your
So.
details, we will call you. I know Mr. Basin will call you. But
I will
I will
call
call
him.
you.
I'm gonna call him. I tell you at the end of the season, the football season, before we go to small bowl, and then we're gonna visit him on the 2 days and take what belongs to me.
Take what belongs to you. Oh yeah, yeah.
But you know-
your
but you know
website.
something?
I
But
get
you
it.
know
Your
something?
laptop.
But you know something? I'm gonna put the pressure on him because the man he replaced lost his first year as president.
I knew you was gonna say that. I knew exactly where you're going.
Just add something to it.
At Somerset. All right. But it's a different president.
Didn't I just say his first year as president? He lost at Somerset.
Oh, sure. You need the cup, right?
Do
You
I
need the
need
cup. Yeah.
What do you mean? Do I need it?
Well, in order to
How many
win it, you
questions
need
is
it.
that?
You need it to win it. That's my point. That is a question.
For people to know where Somerset is, they have to have the cup.
Because
Because everyone knows Sands. No one knows Somerset. Thank you.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Jay, we want to say good luck to Vashon and his team.
That's right.
A lot of youngsters involved, a lot of experience involved as well, and the membership around and the community itself
Well, you
will
said,
come out on
you
come out
said that,
strong.
and I had a conversation with some of the stalwarts up there.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about the presidency of Somerset, it's not a one man or one person or one individual.
Right.
It's a community
Yeah.
run club. Yes, there's somebody who's going to have to stand there and answer questions at the podium, some reporters, but for the most part, there's a community run club.
But I know there'll be one person standing next to him
Oh yeah.
after the 2 days to field a few questions. And that's you, because I know you're volunteering to put your hand up and say, you know what, prayers, I'll stand next to you.
Whatever it is that they need, but no, and saying that you're joking about it. But no, they have built, one thing I've noticed over the last few years is that they have built a great camaraderie even with your club, St. George's.
Yes.
So he could not only pull on information from the stalwarts,
Mm-hmm.
the past presidents, because all the past presidents are still hang around the club,
Yeah.
especially for this year coming up, the cup match coming up. But also, you have the likes of Neil Painters always, you see each team represent other clubs' functions.
Yes. Yeah. And that's built up over the years.
And that's been built up over the years. Never used to be like that.
Right.
But
Right.
you've seen that a lot more.
They've come together.
Yeah. So right now from Christmas, whatever events that club will have,
Right.
the opposing president will be there.
Right.
Just to show support.
Right.
And saying that he can always lean, and it's not like he's new to this.
Right. Right.
He's been in management for a minute, so he knows the ins and outs. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's put his hand up. And hey, all the best.
Yeah. Well, young Daniel Phillips. Daniel Phillips is back on Island, young tennis player.
Yeah.
Got a chance to sit down and talk to him earlier today about his progress through the world of tennis. Well, Daniel, you're back for Christmas. How has tennis life been for you?
Tennis life has been really amazing, traveling to different parts of the world. I recently just traveled to Miami. It's been a really good experience there. I played Orange Ball and Little Mo. I know the challenge, what the world is bringing to me, and I feel really confident that I can make it pretty far.
Now, this is not your first time competing at the Little Mo. You've been competing for a number of years, but how has the progression of others in your age group been?
It's been really hard actually, because everybody just wants to be the best and they're fighting to just win. So I know that there's not going to be no easy or slackers in the tournament, so I just have to try hard.
Now, Javon, you have Daniel here for a few weeks. What are some of the things you'll be working with him to make sure he maintains what he's been doing overseas, to make sure when he gets back he hits the ground running?
Absolutely, that's a great question. We're looking for him to be playing for several hours a day on court. Obviously, the focus is going to be on footwork and effort. We can't really replicate the level of tennis that he's getting out in Menorca, but we're doing our best to bring out some of the older kids to play at the level that he's used to out there in Spain.
How many hours a day do you think someone of his age should be doing to make sure that he can reach the full potential of what he wants to do in the sport of tennis?
It's a controversial topic at this point. There's scientific studies being done about specialization at this age. But from what I've seen, the professional tennis players play at the level that Daniel's been playing since they were like 8, 9 years old, 3 and 4 hours on a court a day, 6 days a week. And that's just on court. We're not talking about their off-court work. Daniel's stretching and push-ups and sit-ups and running off-court every day, jump rope before practice and after practice. So in order to maintain that level, these are things that he's going to have to do while home. And that's just to maintain. That's not to really get a head start. That's just to keep up with.
Daniel, when you're doing something you love, which is tennis, how much of it do you think is a challenge for you to get up in the morning and do that?
Well, it's always a challenge because you know that you have to work hard mostly every day or every minute to just be the best. So it's like waking up in the morning and having to go for a 12-kilometer run. Like, it's really hard.
Now, how much work do you put in the gym as opposed to on the court?
I put about, in the academy in Mallorca, I'll put about 2 hours or an hour. But I think an hour and a half, the other half an hour is stretching and mobility and arm prevention. But that's just off court. On court, it's about 4 hours.
When you look at yourself from, say, 8 years old to where you are now, can you believe the progress?
No, not really, because I remember me barely serving. Now me hitting a consistent serve. So it's really amazing.
Where do you plan to be, or what is the plan for 2018 for you?
My plan is to be up there with all the other kids, making it and doing as best as I can, just improving every day.
Now, the last time you were here, you played in the Bermuda Open, playing upper age as well as your age group. But the challenge you found playing the upper age kids?
Oh, it was like same to me playing like the under 12 kids in an orange ball, or even like worse. But it's still tennis, and I still have to improve so many things.
When you saw him play the last time in Bermuda, what did you think of his game?
Definitely improved. When you start getting up into the 16 and unders, which is the age group that he was playing, not up one age group, but up 2 age groups, they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger, they've got a bit more experience, and maturity plays a large factor as well. So it's understandable for him to have a bit of trouble at that level. However, playing at the level of the Orange Bowl, we're talking about the top 200, 300 kids in the world in his age group, and he made it through 4 rounds of qualifying, was a seed in that, made it into the main draw, into the top 128 kids in the world in his age group, and then won 2 rounds in the main draw of that. So we're talking about Daniel being top 32 to 40 players in the world in his age group. So playing up an age group or 2, that is, something that he should be able to do right now if we're talking about going pro, which is what I believe the goal is for him.
When are you back to training, and what's the plan the minute you hit that ground?
I'm back to training today, and since I've been in Bermuda, I can't really rest. I still have to improve so many things, but when I go away, I know that all my work here will at least be still here, and I can improve over at the academy. I just want to say thank you to all the people that contributed and donated to me. I really appreciate it. Without you guys, probably won't be at the academy and not improving as much as I can. But I just want to say thank you to everybody. And Merry Christmas. Have a good holiday.
This is a prime example when we recognize talent, we groom the talent, and take a chance on the talent,
Mm-hmm.
even when the funds are not there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times we have to wait to figure it out. No, under the watchful eye of Sam Mabry over the years, they have found a way.
Right.
Whatever they could do to raise funds, they have found a way. And you could see what it does.
Right.
Because when you get our kids, and he went from an early age
Mm-hmm.
out of this island and exposed, and we're not talking not only just in the sporting world, but also in just everyday life. The education you learn against higher competition, living abroad, living in a different country,
Right.
you know, all these things it rounds you out, and to see him come back and was like a young man now.
Yeah.
Because he left as a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
But you can almost, you watch his eyes, you can see that he's got a world of experience at his young age.
Right.
Compared to if you look at somebody, let's say, who's coming up now at the same age, who's been here all this time.
Right. Right. You can see the gap.
Not to say that the person who stayed here doesn't have this much love for the game.
Mm-hmm. It's the experience and exposure, without a doubt.
You may have heard Digicel is bringing the only true fiber to the home network to Bermuda. But what does that mean? Fiber to the home is the fastest and most reliable way to access the internet. And with Digicel's fiber internet, the fiber goes all the way into your house. It doesn't just stop at the street. That means you get consistently fast speeds you can rely on. Think of it as a brand new internet highway that goes all the way into your home or office, and you can be one of the first to enjoy it. Visit digicelbermuda.com/fiber to register your interest in Bermuda's only true fiber to the home network.
Well, Jay, that it. Till Thursday.
To Thursday. To Thursday, just one quick thing I saw that came up over the past couple of days. The dope scandal around Justin.
Oh.
You know I want to get into that.
Oh, boy.
Leave it to Thursday. We can leave it to Thursday.
Because he's basically right. He's throwing his hands up, you know. He's saying, "Oh, I can't believe my coach and my." Yeah.
This is first of all. That's why I said this is
Okay,
a quite interesting story.
We'll wait till Thursday because just get off the juice, man.
I just saw. I didn't mean to, but Thursday.
Good night.